What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Shoot Ride Live. My name is Joe. I don't know if you saw the last video or not. My M109R broke down on the way home. I believe it is the dreaded tubular nut in the clutch assembly that has stripped out. It's a common problem with the M109R. So today I'm going to get into it, and there's not a lot of videos out here, so I'm going to show you exactly what the nut looks like if I can get to it. We'll see. And let's jump in, see if I can get it started. Alright, so starting out, as you can see, the exhaust is gone. I have it sitting over there. I took it off. I'm not going to do a video on taking the exhaust off. There's a million of them out there for you to watch. But what we're going to get into is this assembly right here. We got to take all of these nuts out. It's best to make something that has a pattern of this, or at least as you take these bolts out, lay them out in order, because they're not all the same size. So I'm going to get that off of there, and then I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so as you can see, I have all of the little bolts out. Before I take this off, I just want to kind of mention that what I did was I started here. This is my number 1 spot, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And what I did was I just lined them up exactly how I took them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, 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 blah. As you can see, there's only 2 different sizes, but as you can also see, some of them have washers on them. Some of them don't. So I just wanted to keep it exactly how it was as I took them out. So I'm gonna pull this off. Hopefully this is a good angle for you guys. It's going to be stuck on there pretty good. So what I had to do initially is I just put a screwdriver here and just real lightly kind of, you know, torqued it a little bit just to loosen that gasket up and pull it away. Here we go. I'm not too worried about messing up the gasket, because you always buy a new gasket when you do a job like this anyways, and start fresh. Don't reuse gaskets. This one's torn a little bit anyways, so I'll get that off of there and clean that up. You do have this little section right here where the wires go in, and so you want to make sure that when you put this back on there that that's sealed up really good. A lot of people will put a little drop of silicone in there just to seal it up real good. Mine looks pretty clean though. It doesn't look like there's any hole though, so the gasket itself might do the job just fine. That looks pretty good. So now that we're in here, the next step is to get these bolts out. Okay, so I'll loosen those up and be back with you. Alright, so I got these loose in here. We're going to take them out. These are 10 millimeter. The ones that were up here that hold the casing on, those were 8 millimeter for your socket sizes. Alright, so we got this last one out. So now we're in territory that I'm not totally comfortable with, because I don't really deal with clutches or things like that. So it looks like there's a little ball bearings thing in here. I don't know if you can see it moving around or not on my finger. Don't lose that. Definitely. Take these out. I have no idea what these are supposed to look like. I don't think that's good though. It looks like there's a little burn mark right there. But I'm going to take these in and have have the shop look at them when I order the new part. Tell me what they think of them. Now guys, I'm mildly mechanically inclined. You look at that one. I wonder if they're supposed to look like that or not. And you know, I'm getting in here to do this. There haven't been any huge issues or anything, so if you're mildly mechanically inclined like myself, it seems like it might be a huge job, but I'm here to tell you, you can do it. Alright, so I have the clutch plates out. I'm going to take those down and have them looked at. Now right in here, this nut has to come out in order for this basket to come off. And there is an indented spot on each of these that you have to pry up so that you can loosen the bolt. It's a lock that you tap down in there and lock it. So we'll get that pried up, get that loosened, and get the basket off. Alright guys, so I did go and buy a wired impact wrench just to get this off of here way easier, and then some oversized sockets. I got a 30 millimeter for it, and it popped this nut right off. I mean, it was so much easier to do it that way than try and mess with it. So we'll go ahead and pull this off here. There's a washer, so make sure that you grab the washer. Let out. So this is the nut right here. This is the nut right here. That we're talking about. It's completely loose. So I'm thinking I actually may have gotten lucky because normally these are stripped out. It really looks like mine is just loose, and I'm going to be able to tighten it back down because it completely freely spins in there.
Yeah, when I have time.
So yeah, I got totally lucky, you guys. Most of the time this is stripped out and you have to completely replace it. I'm going to be able to just tighten it up. So that's awesome. Alright guys, so I want to show you what it is that I did here. If you're lucky enough like I was that the nut is actually just loose and not completely stripped out, if it's completely stripped out, this piece right here, the basket with the nut in it, Suzuki calls this unserviceable, which means they don't give any specs, they don't sell any special tools to fix this. So if this is stripped out, you basically got to buy this whole thing unless you know somebody that can machine you a new nut like this, which I don't. So I got lucky. I can still, you know, Loctite mine down. So in order to do that, to torque it down, what I did was I went to an auto parts store and bought this 4-wheel drive spindle nut wrench. I got mine at AutoZone, and that's the part number 25072. Okay, so then I brought it home, and as you can see, I cut it. Has 4 knobs on it when you buy it, and so you can see there was one here, 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 and here. So what I did was I took a grinder and I just ground these 2 off. Okay, and then the nut still, you want to check the fit because the nut still didn't want to sit in there. So I just took my Dremel, and as you can probably see, it's silver in there. I just took my Dremel and I took just a tiny bit out here, and then took a tiny bit out on this side, and then now it sits right in there. So what I'll be able to do is just use this tool. Okay, I'll put Loctite here on these. Red Loctite. I'll pop that on there. Put this in here with my impact wrench that I bought, and I'll just impact that down. The impact wrench I bought is a 230 pounds, so I'm not going to wrench it down real hard, but I am going to tighten that sumbitch down real good so that it doesn't come loose again. Alright everybody, welcome back. It's actually about a week later. I ordered my new clutch plates and they came in yesterday. So I had them soaking overnight in some oil. We're going to go ahead and get in here and get this all fixed back up. Hopefully I'll get it all put back together and adjusted today. Sorry about the dogs, they're fighting. Anyways, weirdos. So I'll get back as soon as I get the plates back in here. So I've got the plates back in, and I've got my clutch spring bolts started back in. Now, funny enough that the service manual, instead of giving a torque for these bolts, it just says tighten them securely, which doesn't really tell you much. So I've done a lot of asking around, and it's come down to about 4 foot-pounds of torque, which equals 48 inch-pounds of torque. So I've got my inch-pound torque wrench here. It's already set to 48 inch-pounds, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down, and then I'll be back with you. So I got these bolts fastened up for 48 inch-pounds with torque wrench. I'm going to go ahead and put my new gasket on and put these bolts back in, and that's it. So I got it all buttoned back up. I just have the panels left to put back on. I didn't want to put everything back on before I test rode it. I had a little tiny bit of adjustment left to do in the clutch to fine tune it up at the lever. But other than that, I just took it down the road, even though it's crapping raining out here, and it shifts great, actually way better than it did when I even first bought the bike. So if you think that your tube nut might be a problem, you know, if your clutch is acting weird, if you're snapping clutch cables over and over again, get in there, take a look at it before it actually strips the nut out. I want to take a quick second and just give a shout out to Andy Medina Sr. on Facebook, who really helped me with a lot of stuff. I really appreciate it, man. And that's it. Shoot, ride, live. I'm out.